And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to VIII Continuum, the legendary journeys. I am your one and only gaming monk, better known as Mildra, and I see that that your reactives aren't yet. Sorry about that, guys.
I'm the only one here.
With
reactives,
me,
what are those?
with me, of course, it is first off making his return, our flamboyant flyer and living Wikipedia, good brother Flutter.
Hello, everyone.
Making his debut in, not debut in the monastery because that happened during the happened during the clusterfuck of New Year's Eve.
True.
But it is his debut to VIII Continuum.
Yep. Good brother Aid.
Hello, I'm either Oi or A Biffle. I do things on the internet occasionally when I have free time.
Mm-hmm. And
For those of you who don't know how he gets just the sound A from that name, learn Gaelic.
You know, it's always funny when the English just butcher my name. It's like, yes. Tale as old as time.
Well, at least you're not someone whose name has a BH in it and now has to say a V there.
Oh, yeah.
Or an MH, or there's about 3 different ways that they get V sounds with weird letters, and I love it.
so, when it comes to weirdness of language, I have had a policy of do not throw stones in that glass house, or there is shit in everyone's yard.
Yep.
And don't make me bring up the Arabic rant again. Point is, I know a lot of people say, "Oh, English is the worst," and to that I say, I acknowledge that there are weird things in English. I think everyone does. However, I will always counter with, there are weird things in every language. Hence the phrase, there is shit in everyone's yard.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because, you know, it's not like you have to learn an entire fucking sub-language just to talk to 2 people.
And completely different words for plurals compared to singulars in Arabic. Can't forget that one.
Oh, yep. Or assigning inanimate objects a gender. Looking at you.
Looking at all the Romance languages and most of the rest of Europe. Yes, I know.
Or several of the languages in East Asia where you have where you have like 14 different versions of saying the same fucking thing.
But we digress, Monk.
Yes.
That would be a funny podcast episode. Just sitting down and just going like, oh, English is hard? Let's go down this language.
Mm-hmm. I only have a passing amount of experience with linguistics, which is why I don't think I'd be qualified enough to do it to my usual standard. If I can get a actual linguist to talk about the bullshit of different languages, I certainly would. Lord knows I've covered Stranger Things before. But as Anne said, we digress. And obviously, for a bit of catch up, VIII Continuum is a bi-weekly series, 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 this monastery, where we, the esteemed members of this monastery, we, the esteemed members of this monastery, look at individual entries within the Final Fantasy series and how one might adapt them into our game, Legend Edition. And we started with the original, and we've gone upwards from there, mentioning some bits of weird trivia. I ended up repeating the story about Hiroyuki Ito. In fact, he got brought up a lot in the early years because in the early entries, I should say, because I strongly believe that he does not get his due by a large part of the fan base.
Right.
Especially given the impact of his contributions.
I mean, most people don't really know who he is until you mention he's the guy that invented ATB, and then they only associate him with that, not realizing he was the writer and director for 6, 9, and 12.
He was also the combat designer for the original. And at that point, as we mentioned back in our look at the first game, he had never played an RPG before.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah,
Most people don't.
So hold on. So the guy came into the whole genre as like, okay, I'd never done this before, so let's just make stuff up as I go along.
The reason for the way he has the party and enemies line up in the original game was because he was drawing inspiration from American football.
I can see that.
The row system and the column, the whole system comes from his inspiration from American football.
Mm-hmm.
And we've gone over ad nauseum his idea behind why active time battle had to be a thing, because he predicted that as hardware advanced, you wouldn't be limited to just turn-based, so you were going to get more and more real-time action. And ATB was a way to try and mimic that with the limitations that they had.
Mm-hmm.
At the time.
He had cited Formula One as his main inspiration, which as we said before is interesting since in the early 90s Formula One was going through a significant change in its car design, specifically its transmission design.
Yeah, semi-automatic shift.
Mm-hmm. Which is more or less what they've used ever since. Of course, the early 90s was also one of the rare times when Ferrari wasn't a shit show.
But the point is that Ito is if you have the obvious heroes of Final Fantasy, people like, Sakaguchi, the father of the genre, Kitase, who is now the brand, they call him the Final Fantasy brand manager. He essentially protects the Final Fantasy ideal and makes sure that things that fall into the Final Fantasy umbrella are there, which is a very loose umbrella, I might add.
Mm-hmm.
According to people like Sakaguchi and Kitase and others, Final Fantasy is basically however you want to tell the best story. We've been over those quotes.
Yeah, especially when there's a repeat insistence that it has to be this one thing, like it must be turn-based or it must be in a high fantasy setting, so on and so forth.
Hold on, I have it somewhere.
Yeah,
I have it somewhere. We haven't reviewed these quotes in a while, and some people haven't been introduced to them. So first of all, in an interview with Tetsuya Nomura, he was asked, why do you think that the Final Fantasy franchise can adapt to so many different genres so well? His answer was, back when I was creating Final Fantasy games with Mr. Hironobu Sakaguchi, I remember he told me, Final Fantasy doesn't necessarily have to be a traditional RPG. Mainline titles can even be novels or movies. This left a lasting impression on me. I personally felt that this idea of not being pigeonholed into one shape or format is Final Fantasy's identity. Mm-hmm. Believing in his words, I've taken on various genres and have been able to do so because this philosophy has been carried on over time. And then another interview with Yoshi P. How challenging has it been to do something so new while still maintaining the identity of the Final Fantasy series? This is specifically an interview with Yoshi P about creating Final Fantasy 16.
Mm-hmm.
And he responds, This is something that Sakaguchi-san, the father of Final Fantasy, and Kitase-san, the Final Fantasy brand manager, have both said to me. Final Fantasy is whatever the director making the latest installment thinks is the best game, the best story at the time. If they create a game with those points in mind, then it's a Final Fantasy, so there's no need to feel constrained by what's come before. Since they'd said that to me, I didn't really feel like this was a particular challenge. Of course, we hesitated and mulled things over, but I wouldn't say it was challenging. Once we had decided on something, then that was all that would matter. Final Fantasy is, at its heart, the best story, the best music, the best game it can be, rendered through iteration and experimentation.
And
Has always been, will always be.
yeah, I have
The only constant is change.
Yeah. I have had people on multiple occasions insist to me that that particular phrase is somehow a cop-out, or just take the worst possible interpretation of it, which is far more telling of the security blanket that individual wants. Now,
Far more telling of the content of their character than their actual view on Final Fantasy.
mhm.
Yep.
And yeah, I get it. People will want the familiar thing that they grew up with to stick like that, but I always tell people be very wary of over-reliance on that kind of thinking. And the poster boy I have used for what happens when that kind of thinking goes awry is the state of sim racing. Or the major sim racers that are in the market right now are very samey.
And they also are missing quality of life updates that other games have gotten in the past 20 years up until very recently, such as private lobbies.
Oh yeah. Everybody was when Project Cars 2 introduced private lobbies, everybody was hailing it as this revolutionary, bold step forward. We've had private lobbies in games since 1997. Actually, no, not 97, 95.
Yeah.
Probably even further back, because I'm pretty sure the original Doom had the original.
Well, no, the original Quake did.
Yeah. Doom was still single player. You did have the deathmatch maps, but those you had to do direct link stuff or local networks.
It was mostly LAN parties.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Man, those were the days.
Yeah.
I remember LAN parties.
I used a LAN party as a cover for when I ended up ruining three senior proms in high school in the span of a week.
That sounds like a great story.
On the first day of science class, my teacher gave to me a flask full of phenolphthalein.
Oh yeah.
Something you will learn very quickly, I am the absolute worst when it comes to pranks.
That's amazing.
As in, bad enough that whole offices have PTSD from me.
We've been
I
over
mean,
those
hey,
stories.
at least they still remember you.
No, my favorite is still white D4s on a white linoleum floor in the middle of the night.
Oh yeah, 4 pounds.
Yeah.
4 pounds of white D4s on the kitchen floor.
Yep. To stop his roommate from stealing his yogurt.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But
we digress.
the reason we have all this preamble actually is Final Fantasy VIII is a very divisive Final Fantasy entry because it did so many things experimentally.
And
it is
a
still
lot
a
of
good-
people weren't used to that experimentalism because you had a whole generation who only had played 7. Much
Yes.
like
Yeah.
if I were to draw a parallel with other franchises, consider the divisiveness that happened with Majora's Mask or Metal Gear Solid 2.
Or a deeper cut, Shin Megami Tensei Persona 1.
Yeah, I can go with that.
I just like, because I'm not talking about the shift that Persona 3 etc. really solidified as the Persona code. Persona 1 was them really experimenting with what SMT could be, and as it evolved into Persona 2 and then finally hit its stride in Persona 3, you saw it really branched away from SMT.
Yeah. I'd say
Now-
the prototype was if.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
But with that in mind, I got a little bit of a preamble for FF8 that I like to give to a lot of people.
Mhm.
Final Fantasy VIII did a lot of things differently. One, it eschewed the MP system for what was called the draw system, which was essentially a spell charges system. You could draw charges from monsters and from specific points on the maps and on the other fields to gather charges of these spells. And that was one very controversial choice that was then compounded by the junction system introduced with the game's whole summon system, GFs or Guardian Forces. Yes, Amav, we know Spoonie tore a new one, but we also don't give a shit about what Spoonie says. Spoonie is... Noah Antweiler is a person I pity at most.
Mhm.
But because of these two choices, the junction system and the draw system, you got this interesting thing where you didn't want to cast magic anymore, because magic was your equipment now, and it was better than the equipment in the past because you could junction it to specific stats. There were ways that you could make yourself an unkillable god tank by Disc 1. Disc 1 nuke and breaking Disc 1 was really, really fully codified by some of the abusive shit you could do in Final Fantasy VIII, such as use the card mod ability off of the Quetzalcoatl summon to try and farm card drops, or just use the card game in general and abuse the shit out of Triple Triad to get cards that you could then turn into spells, a stack of 100 of them, because you could carry a stack of 100 for any spell, and then equip it to your attack stat, for example.
Yeah.
And now your attack stat did mondo damage. And then the best way to play the game, honestly, was not to level up. Another controversial choice was enemies scaling worldwide with your characters instead of each region having its own sets of difficulties that, like so many games before it. It was an interesting choice. The real problem I had with it personally was if you advanced your level too far, in some cases, you would lock out drops from certain enemies permanently. They couldn't be leveled back so that you could get their earlier drops, and some of those drops were unobtainable at that point. Nothing super important. Yeah, nothing super important. Like you could still upgrade all your weapons and everything, but it still felt bad. It also meant that even though you leveled up higher, you still didn't have a major advantage over other enemies. They were as strong as you were. So remaining low level and abusing card mod was something a lot of people did once they understood even a little bit about the junction system. And then a big one that a lot of people have an issue with is how disjointed the story felt. And it's rumor and hearsay and scuttlebutt, so take it with a grain of Himalayan rock salt the size of Everest. The rumor is that the story went through multiple writing teams who did not have any communication with each other. That's the rumor. I'm not saying it's true. I'm being very disclaimer heavy about that.
Take it with a big old grain of salt, like the kind of grain of salt that they put on the side of a donkey to carry it out of the salt mine.
Yeah.
Yes, like I said, size of Everest. But you can see in the story where certain through threads seem to make sense, and then they were haphazardly mashed together. I tend to separate them into 3 or 4 separate packages. For example, the Alone flashbacks and all of Disc 1 and up to the Desert Prison in Disc 2 seems to be one writing team. all of disc 2 and 3 seemed to be a next writing team that tried to tie into that older stuff. And then disc 4, the time compressed world, is its own writing team as well, is what it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I think that maybe Estar and all the sci-fi elements may have been a separate writing team from the rest of disc 2 and 3, and so you have this little intermittent team, but I can see it going both ways. Again, I don't know that this is true. This is just, if you look at the general flow of the story, you can see how separate writing teams that didn't know exactly where each one was going makes sense if you chop it up.
The other reason I can see there being some precedent for that is the fiefdom problem that happens whenever Marvel or DC or any of the bigger comic book companies try to do some sort of crossover event, and naturally that's where the argument starts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now these are all things that are controversial, not necessarily negative or positive. They are what they are.
Mm-hmm.
You have to take them with both their merits and their flaws, and this has led to people both loving or hating the game. There was a fourth that I felt was a non-controversy instead of a controversy. They're like, where'd the sweeping, grand, majestic music go? I'm like, are you kidding me? Have you listened to Uematsu's work on Final Fantasy VIII? Fuck you. This is great techno rock opera. Eat my entire ass.
Not to mention, when it comes to that whole where's the grand sweeping, did everyone just conveniently forget about Liberi Fatali?
I was going, yeah.
And Succession of Wishes and all the other things that go into Liberi Fatali. Yeah.
But what that honestly reminds me of was the controversy when Opeth had their genre shift.
Yeah. Well, what I can say is go listen to the Final Fantasy VIII OST in its entirety, all of the discs. You will find that while there are some songs that don't have the same type of impact that you might expect because they're town songs or other such types of songs and thus are generally gentler, every goddamn action song is a banger. None of them are bad. And if you try to argue otherwise, I will point at you, laugh at you, and call you a liar.
Mm-hmm. And I do have to take some of the controversy criticisms with a particular grain of salt, because in some cases I'm not sure if that's what someone legitimately thinks or if they're just parroting Noah. Especially given how famous his playthrough of FF8 was, where he ended up. I said before I pity him, but I also have to credit him for helping me establish one of my concrete rules when it comes to how I critique games. Even if I may make jokes, the game itself is never to be the joke.
Right.
See, also
make joke about aspects or things that are happening, but the game itself is not.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The only exception is when the game is deliberately meant to be a joke. You know, something like Game Center CX, or I want to be the guy.
I want to be the guy of the game.
Yeah.
I want to be the guy of the movie, the game. Excuse me. I must say the name properly, otherwise a spike might drop on me from under me somehow.
Wait, they made a game out from the movie? I didn't know that.
There is no movie. It's one giant shitpost.
Oh.
Have you ever heard of I Want to Be the Guy?
I think I've heard of it, but I think I've only heard it in passing.
Yeah. So I Want to Be the Guy, the movie, the game, is essentially a troll game. It's kind of like essentially the whole game you don't know what's a failure condition, and you will just die to random bullshit the whole game. The kid always dies in a single hit and explodes into ludicrous jibs. And depending on the difficulty you choose, there are no save points. On impossible difficulty, there are none. The whole thing's a troll game, and people get through it. It was essentially like the game's a troll game that is kind of somehow also sort of making fun of things like Kaizo.
Yeah.
Just super extreme difficulty platformers. But that is beside the point.
Yeah, and to address some of the comments, we already mentioned the whole thing with Spoonie. Vanguardian says FF8 where guns are also swords. I know I have seen some people. I've even argued with one idiot regarding the whole Gunblade thing. I know Nomura had said that the inspiration for the Gunblade was some of these silver accessories he was seeing around that time. And there is historical precedent for the concept because pistol swords have been a cavalry thing for decades. They certainly have fallen out of favor. And if I can't use that as an example, I'll just say, what is a bayoneted rifle if not a gun spear?
Or gun halberd, depending on how the bayonet is, how the bayonet is made.
SKS, my love, with a 7-inch long blade as your bayonet.
Have you seen those memes of people putting like axe heads on the end of shotguns?
Yeah.
Oh.
A shot axe is a thing. Yes.
I probably wouldn't. Because of some of the channels that Zan and I watch, we have seen no shortage of unholy abominations done to firearms. some of which are going to be haunting our dreams for the rest of our lives.
Hey Monk, I've got a cue sound for you. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh yeah, how could I forget guys like Yosho and Sam Claymore who have made it their mission to make the worst guns possible using the gunsmith modes in the last dozen CODs.
And still win games with these fucking abominations.
They've also been accused of aimbotting a bunch of times, which they're not. Like I think one of them was a rifle that had an ADS of 1.5 seconds. Which doesn't sound like much. That doesn't sound like much, but think of how glacially slow that is in a game where every millisecond matters, especially in the middle of a firefight.
Yes. It's great. We love it.
But I think there was. And of course I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up some of the various cursed guns or some of the bubbled ones aren't the ones that keep me up at night. It's the Kyber Pass ones.
The Kyber Pass. Those are some. At one point it's like, what are you doing? But another point it's like, man, you put a lot of thought into these.
Yeah, that's what makes it disturbing. And I know somebody would go, well, what about Keltec? I will not hear any slander about the Keltec cocaine train.
I mean, look, it's one thing to take an existing platform and bubba or pass it up. But Keltec, there's like, hey, we have the resources. Let's just make something cursed ourselves from scratch.
Don't ruin it. Don't let someone else ruin your gun. Ruin it yourself.
Like, was it Keltec that made a backpack gun that you couldn't put any optics on it because it folds like
You're talking about
vertically.
you're talking about the I know exactly which Keltec you're talking about, and yes, it folds in half, but you can, if you're careful about it, put certain optics on it. Brandon Herrera has done that.
Yeah, and
Yeah, but then another company's like, "Hey, we like what you're doing, but like we're gonna actually make sure it folds the right way."
You're talking about the Keltec Sub 2000, which is technically a pistol caliber carbine. It folds in half. Yes.
yeah,
The Sub 2000. Yeah.
but my love for ridiculously unsafe firearms is well known. I mean, I've spoken very highly about things like the 4-bore and the Fat Mac. Even used them in some of my games.
950 JDJ Fat Mac.
The thing that requires its own platform that looks like an ironing board.
That's attached to its stock. Don't forget that part.
Just the name Fat Mac sounds like something that you would order from a legally distinct McDonald's.
Let me get a picture for you here. Just let me get a picture.
Ammo says DP12 shotgun looks like a Keltec shotty.
I'll use a thumbnail from one of Kentucky Ballistics videos on the thing. You'll see it in the sacristy chat here. Him holding the Fat Mac.
Oh yeah, that thing.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I've seen that gun around, but I haven't heard of the name.
It's chambered in 950 JDJ, and it is called the Fat Mac. There's
Because why not?
10 of, well, I mean, I think there's like, how many it made in the entire world? Not a lot.
Only a dozen. And it is technically, legally speaking, it is considered a sporting rifle.
Yes, it is a sporting rifle.
I was about to say that it doesn't look like it has a muzzle brake. It just looks like they took the barrel and they cut the muzzle brake into the barrel, but then I zoomed in on the picture and then you can see like the seam where it was screwed on.
Yeah. I mean, I've referenced the noisy cricket a bunch of times in my campaigns as a reference of what I mean by I like giving people overpowered but unsafe equipment.
Oh boy, I'm just wait till we start talking about anima, because I have some stories from my GM.
I'm certain we'll be getting to that next week.
So I just want to, just because we're on the 950 JDJ, I just want to read the ballistics entry from its Wikipedia page for this type of cartridge. The cartridge propels its 3,600 grain, aka 233 gram bullet at approximately 2,200 feet per second. It would take 45 223 80 grain rounds or 24 308 Winchester at 150 grain rounds to equal the weight of a 950 JDJ. And it yields a muzzle energy of 38,685 foot-pounds of force, or for those of you who really like your SI, 52,450 joules. This means that the ballistics of a 950 JDJ are more similar to that of a 20 millimeter autocannon round. The muzzle energy is comparable to a 2,800 pound automobile traveling at 20 miles per hour.
And this thing's considered a sporting rifle? What the fuck are you
starting? The largest game, Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yeah, I was just about to say, what the fuck are you hunting? Hunting a gut like an Allosaurus?
Now, I will note that the Fat Mac rifle weighs approximately 110 pounds, the rifle, and has over 200 pounds or 200 foot-pounds of force in recoil energy. This has led to the scope having a huge eye relief pad to avoid it giving you scope eye and cracking your ocular orbit. I love this gun. It's so fucking hilarious.
Yeah, as far as what you'd be hunting with it, that is something you'd for any sort of large game in Africa where you need it to stop very quickly so that it doesn't power slide you to death.
Yeah. And just so everybody knows, 3,600 grains, or around 233 grams, is about 8.2 ounces, or over half a pound. So one of these Amov, the Royale with cheese. Shut up. This is not Pulp Fiction.
Fuck off.
This is not Pulp Fiction, and Emov, you're not black enough to make that joke.
Well, no, he might be white enough to make it from the John Travolta side. You never know.
He's not. He hasn't. I don't think Emov has tried to sing.
Well, but be that as it may, yes, guns are swords in this world.
Mm-hmm.
But guns are also guns, as we'll see with some of the other characters.
Yeah.
Yep.
And when it comes to just the concept of the gunblade being ridiculous, something I've always asked is, how is that somehow more ridiculous than oversized sword the size of a man?
It was almost a heap of iron, Monk.
Yeah.
No, my response to the gunblade's totally impractical is, you are talking about a weapon in a game where you build relationships with monsters that are essentially the embodiments of some natural force that you can call on, and the better your relationship with them, the faster they come to your beck and call, and they help you get more powerful, and from the monsters in the game, you can pull literal magic. You are bitching about a gun sword in a game with summons and literal magic. What the fuck?
Though I've often made the mantra believability over realism. I'm well aware of the ridiculousness of certain things, but as long as you can present it in a way that I want to be carried along for the ride, there's no problems. When you
as long as you're internally consistent, I don't give a shit.
Yeah. And now with that in mind, I will note a few things that we're going to be doing with this regarding 8, and some things we're not going to be doing. Obviously, we're not going to be doing the junction rules that I implemented. Which one of the big reasons for that is it's a little bit trickier to assume a certain level when it comes to that. Much in the same way as we did
whatever your highest level equipped summon is.
Yeah, and there's a lot, and even with just straight level, there's a lot more width than with the job setup. The other thing is I don't want to carry this assumption that just because say you were running a campaign in FF8 setting, that doesn't mean you need to replicate the same mechanics. I've had a similar discussion in the past when people have said, why don't you put in grid combat? I want to use that for a tactics campaign. And I've said, why do you need that? What is stopping you from just running a campaign that's set in Ivalice?
Yeah.
And personally, not on when it comes to the gunblade being ridiculous, not only do we strongly disagree about the whole realism argument, Zen and I made it worse because how could I not bring up Hell's Thunder? I commissioned a particular piece that I wanted to use to demonstrate how ridiculous we could make Gunbreaker and thus gunblades and similar weapons. Hell's Thunder is what happens when you mix the Dragon Slayer from Berserk with a Maudus.
Oh God.
Look, I'm all for this. Let's continue.
There's a picture. Where was the last time you posted the picture of the Hell's Thunder in
Hang
chat?
on, hang on, I will get it.
Oh, he's just gonna post it. Got it. I don't even got to do the work.
Yeah, I had commissioned the same folk who Duplessis, who had also done a lot of the weapon art in the core book for FF Legend. But let me get that for you. Here we go. There you go.
There you go, guys. Look at that. Isn't that great?
That looks like something straight out of Ruby.
We did cover Ruby a long time ago, and we did a better version than what Miles Luna and Carrie Shaw.
Oh wait, hold on. That reminds me of there was a Valkyria Chronicles game that was exclusive to Japan that was on the PSP, and one of the characters has a Buster Blade machine gun.
Yo,
It wasn't. That was probably Valkyria Chronicles 3. The one we didn't get because they tried to make into they tried to go way to Otome and it backfired.
I mean, I thought 2 wasn't terrible.
It wasn't
It's just-
terrible, but that comment from one of the developers of "we have too many male fans" blew up in their face.
Yeah.
also just checked. Yeah, it was 3.
Which I believe there is a fan translation of, was a lot better. Probably one of the darker stories, and I guess because of fan demand after 3 was much better, that's how we ended up getting 4 officially in the States. But anyways, I know it would be tempting to say, are you going to implement triple triad? We already do. We have the card duel skill game in the Ultimania guide.
Yes. In fact, hold on. Yes, it is, inspired by Triple Triad, Tetramaster, and Queen's Blood. Although I will say, Triple Triad's the best one.
Yeah, I could have just done triple triad alone, which some of my predecessors had done, but I wanted to leave it open so that somebody could implement their own in-universe card game that isn't just copying one of the ones that existed. That's a theme you're going to see a lot with the design ethos. Using FF as a sandbox so that somebody could do their own take without having to slavishly rely on what came before.
It's like like in Mechaton, where it's like they have a setting for you. You don't have to use that setting.
Mm-hmm.
So you can take
good
the
old-
tools and make your own sandbox.
Good old Mecton Zeta.
Yep.
And I am still upset that I only got to play one session of a campaign that I really wanted to be in.
I enjoy Mechton, though that's not the mech game that I often recommend to people because Mechton, especially if you include Plus, is a bit of a higher floor.
It like you unironically need a spreadsheet. Which, to be fair, the Mechaton Zeta Discord did make a really nice spreadsheet.
Yeah.
In Google Docs for it, but it's definitely something where it's like, hey, like you got to be willing to create 2 characters, and your second character you'll be spending an entire day fleshing it out.
Yeah, but the mech game that I usually recommend to people if they want to do mecha in TTRPG form.
Century G.
Yep, Battle Century G. Now,
Because we like our Super Robot Wars alikes around here.
I think I know of it, but I don't think I ever read it.
I read it. I
Good stuff.
reviewed the original. I haven't reviewed the remastered version. Originally, it was a TG project called Giant Guardian Generation.
Because everybody likes their 3G because Gao Gaigar is the best. Fuck you, I won't hear anything else.
But But when he wanted to go legit with it, he retitled it Battle Century G and took a lot of the Super Robot Wars stuff out of it, but the DNA is still there.
He took a lot of the things that said Super Robot Wars out of it.
Yeah,
It's still Super Robot Wars by any other name.
I liken it to Star Wars D6 versus D6 Space. The latter is the former, just with the Star Wars stuff filed off.
Yes.
But is it as customizable as Mechton? Not quite, but it is. I consider it more accessible. The skill floor is lower, comparatively speaking.
But with all of that said,
so we now, fortunately, with a lot of the casts in the PlayStation eras of Final Fantasy, we don't have to worry about the race entry, and that's definitely the case with FF8. Oh,
they're all humans.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. 9 will have to worry about race.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in 2 weeks. But so first off, we have our one of 2 Gunblade specialists in the entirety of Balam Garden, Squall Leonhardt.
Leo Von, is that you? What?
So obviously, as mentioned, the gunblade is a weapon that everybody is familiar with, but very few people specialize in. It seems to be the vibe that it goes for. Because, I mean, there are gunblades that were mentioned in Galbadia, but Laguna mentions, I haven't used one of these since training.
Yep.
You couldn't, like, it could have the implication where it's hard to master, so it's to the point where it's like, hey, I could spend a long time working on this weapon, but I could just use a gun or a sword.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's exactly what the implication is, that gunblade specialists are actually highly skilled.
Yeah. So
because it didn't take, like, both Cypher and Squall, the 2 gunblade specialists we know of, are implied to have mastered that weapon in a very short amount of time compared to others.
Mm-hmm. But
I would argue Squall is going to be an adept.
Oh, all right. If we're going with adept, then given the rules, we have to go with at least one adept job. But obviously, one of the jobs is going to be Gunbreaker is one of the jobs. That's a non-starter.
Yes, but here's the thing, Monk. For the second job I want to give him, for the job from the adept tree that I want to give him, can you guess what it's going to be?
Magic Knight or Sword Saint.
Yeah, you got it in one. It is indeed Magic Knight.
Nice.
The trigger mechanic isn't something that is just used for attacking. It's also used in his limit breaks.
Mm-hmm.
But he also, like what we saw in the opening of Final Fantasy VIII when him and Cypher are doing their last duel, is that they both use magic and weapons in tandem all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Squall's a little bit more tactical about using it, which is why I'm making him an adept. Later, when we get to Cypher, I'm already going to tell you he's much more warrior-minded, simply because of his old sorceress is knight bullshit.
And
but, yeah,
as far as the third one, were you thinking general?
he could do general. General's a one that he could do, though I don't find him to be as compelling a leader as, say, Keistis is. Keistis just bows to him because she relies on him, because all of the women of the party seem to rely on Squall. I swear to fucking God.
Look, all right, Squall fits into that male protag self-insert archetype pretty easily, from what I've heard. Granted, I haven't ever played the game, but I will say I am listening to the soundtrack right now, and it's pretty decent.
Yeah.
Hold on, I gotta follow up that whatever with "Go talk to a wall."
Yeah.
Those are both quotes that Squall says in the game.
Oh, yeah.
People he doesn't like.
Yeah, I would.
I was thinking rather than general. If we do give him general, that's cool. But if not, weapon master, since he mastered the fucking gunblade.
I can go with that. Especially since I did give the implication that if someone wanted to, they could utilize scrolls as part of Magic Knight to do a kind of, at the time I called it a caster build, taking a nod to Outlaw Star.
Yep.
But that kind of thing could work just as well with the way we have Magic Knight work, which I do love the way we did Magic Knight, because it solved the Gish problem that I had with so many different archetypes.
Yeah.
You can cast, but not as good. You can cast, but not as good as a spellcaster. You can fight, but not as good as a fighter. But you don't have anything that a caster or a fighter can't do.
Yep.
Whereas with Magic Knight with us, if you're doing it so you can fight and cast, you're doing it wrong. You're supposed to be fighting with casting. With Magic Knight, that is its whole thing.
Rather than in tandem, it's simultaneous.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to do it in tandem, that would be like a red mage, right?
No, red mage is a black and white switch hitter.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want to do in tandem, you just take one weapon combat class and one casting class. Oh, there you go. They're in tandem. Because we have the 3 jobs to our system. So.
Yeah.
Oh, kind of like what is it? Phantoma Ultima?
Fabula Ultima.
Yeah.
Zan and I have covered it, and I have some very, very pointed criticisms regarding Fabula Ultima. Some of which I laid out in my initial review I did over a year ago, and the follow-up that I did last fall. But when it comes to how it's handling its approach, it's trying to do the classes as skills thing that Sword World does, but it kind of misses the point. It also has some very baffling choices, like the whole heroic skill thing and a 10 level cap that doesn't seem to make any sense. Whereas with us, you have a unified leveling setup. You're just getting the 3 jobs. You're just getting their stuff at different rates of progression.
Yeah, with FFLE, your class is a framework that determines things like how much HP and MP you get when you level up, how many trained skills you have, things of that nature. The jobs are where you get your feature packages. For example, getting the job Magic Knight gives you the ability to use Enchanted Arms, where you can spend MP to add magic damage of a specific element to your attack. Other things that it gets are Infusion, which allows your weapon to be treated as having spell storing, which means you can store a new spell inside of it and then use it on a weapon attack. There's also Caliber Arms, which you can spend MP to add free extra effort dice to your attack up to your highest Magic Knight circle, and it has to be declared before the attack roll. There's Primus Arms, which allows you to use a metamagic feat on your enchanted arms. And then you get Spellbreaker as your capstone, which, when you're using the enchanted arms ability to add an element to the weapon gains damage spiking X, which indicates it just pierces through all damage resistance of that enchanted arms element.
Yeah. A major inspiration for the way I designed Magic Knight is the Magus class in Pathfinder, which is built with the idea of doing fighting and casting at the same time. If you pick Magus and try to do a pure fighter or pure caster, or look at those things in isolation, you are doing it wrong. There are other classes that'll do just that. But
so Amov's Zoids is a great mecha show, sure. It is not Gao Gaigar.
No.
But so getting back on the rails. Next up is Renoa Heartlily.
Artilli. Hatiri, literally in Japanese.
Yep, because Japanese wordplay.
It's fun. But I'm gonna argue that her whole thing is about having some of the better magical potential in the game, and thus mage.
Yeah.
I mean, also story reasons. She is a sorceress monk.
Mm-hmm. So this isn't the. I would say one of them we have to go with is Beastmaster because of Angelo, the goodest of boys.
Yep.
I'd say Scholar. Scholar is our castiest caster.
I'm gonna be honest, Monk. With the whole being a sorceress thing and what that entails, if we look at her powers as they are in game, she also, like every sorceress, it seems, has some sort of ability to manipulate time.
Cosmic Mage.
Yes. And Alone manipulates the past. Ultimecia manipulates the future. Which I suppose, if we're going to go with the Buddha reference that they were obviously going with, that makes Renoa the Buddha of the present. No, let me keep going. Remember that the Buddha of the present is also known as the Dipankara Buddha, which was the lamp-bearing Buddha, and she bears the light to guide Squall back to them at the end of the game.
Yep. But
she's the Buddha of the present. Come on now.
I'm willing to go with that. But I do need to hit the BRB for 1 second. So hold on.
Got it. Right. Well,
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. So, let's see, where did I leave off? So, Cosmic Mage, Beastmaster. I know it would be tempting to go with Weapon Master because of that thing that she fires.
No,
But-
it's called the Blaster Star.
Yeah, but I'm going with Sniper instead.
Well, I was also going to go with Mediator, considering what she tries to do so much throughout the game.
Mediator's gonna be a better choice because I don't see her being much of a fighter.
I mean, she isn't. She doesn't like the fact that her father's a military man, remember?
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Welcome back. Did you bring snacks?
But yeah, with Renoa, we've got a mage who is Beastmaster, Cosmic Mage, and Mediator.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So let me
With Keistis.
let me rearrange this a little bit. All right. Keistis Trepe. Who I'm pretty sure a few people that we know would probably simp for.
I mean, Keistis is pretty awesome.
Although
The problem I have with Keistis is I don't know what else to do besides Blue Mage.
Blue Mage is a must.
She's the only one with blue magic in the game.
Mm-hmm. And some of that blue magic can be completely busted.
I mean, you're not wrong. But that's also because her blue magic is a limit break.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're only talking about what? Degenerator.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like a powerful limit break at all.
Eliminates an enemy from battle.
Just gone. Ceases to exist.
gone.
You do not pass go. You get no grave.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, then there's, of course, Shockwave Pulsar. Keistis sucks all enemies up into the sky and they are blasted with a gravitational ball of energy. Only attack which allows Keistis to inflict more than 9,999 points of damage. But she can also cast Mighty Guard.
Mm-hmm. So,
And White
Given
Guard, for
that-
that matter.
given that it is stated that her Tina says Scholar would be another solid choice for her, I think, leaning into the instructor vibe. Scholar in Legend Edition is our castiest caster. And I'm not quite sure. And looking at the starting compatibility that she has, there is talk about having her more as a utility player, and if that is the case, let me posit Spirit Master.
I can see Spirit Master, considering that a lot of her support blue magic does more support stuff, especially like Mighty Guard. If you're at Crisis level 4, she'll do Mighty Guard won't just do Protect and Shell, it'll also do things like Aura and a few others.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's-
regen.
Yeah.
So I can see it.
The
And then
other one,
For her,
Squire.
I don't see her as Squire in that respect. See, See, I was thinking at this point that she would get a warrior class because she's part of Garden. She is meant to be a sorceress assassin, though.
Mm-hmm. In that case,
I was
Fencer.
Yeah, I was thinking Fencer.
Yep. And hey there, Jack. Oh, thank you for dropping by. Hope your day's been going good. So Fencer, Blue Mage, Spirit Master. So I'd say Adept.
Yeah. The real problem with a lot of FF8's characters is that because of how Junction and other things work, getting them a class outside of Adept is actually harder than you might think. Zell is absolutely going to be Warrior, though. The man sucks at magic. Like, it is programmed into the game that he will always draw the least on average out of everybody. And he raises his compatibility with GFs the slowest.
Yep, so...
He's bad at magic.
So, he's bad at magic, he's good at hot dogs. Except when he has to get in line for them. Which is why I laughed during the end credits where he's just gobbling every hot dog he can get.
Zell is also our Genki guy.
Mm-hmm.
Dude's constantly upbeat.
Yep. But Monk, obviously, and I'm not giving him Monk because unarmed combatant. I'm giving him Monk because his limit break is basically a reincarnation of Sabin's abilities.
Yes.
Just with a 10-second timer. Which, if you know what you're doing, you can extend the hell out of that 10-second timer.
If you know what you're doing, you can go between so many of his commands before doing a proper command, a set of commands to do his final hit.
Mm-hmm.
Because in Duel, the more of the Combat Maniac, it was Combat Maniac, wasn't it? Combat King magazines. Each one gives you an ending hit, depending on what combos you've done prior.
Mm-hmm.
And My Final Heaven from Combat King 5 the big thing is it's not just 10 seconds, Monk. The time you have is dependent on what crisis level he's at. It's 12 seconds at crisis level 4.
Mm-hmm.
But Punch Rush and Booyah, the two opening abilities, can be swapped between over and over again. And they are the two simplest button sequences of circle X and right left, respectively.
Yeah. And
you can just keep going between those over and over and over and over again until near the end of it. You can in order to reach My Final Heaven, for example, you have to go either Punch Rush, Booyah, Heel Drop, Meteor Strike, My Final Heaven, or Punch Rush, Booyah, Heel Drop, Mach Kick, Punch Rush, My Final Heaven. But what you can do is alternate between Punch Rush, Booyah a whole bunch to get a lot of damage in on targets. And then when you're nearing the end, you just go off your Booyah into Heel Drop, into Meteor Strike, into My Final Heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and in fact, here's the strategy. The most effective way to use Zell's Duel is to do a technique dubbed Armageddon Fist by fans, whereupon the player constantly inputs two of Zell's moves in rapid succession, Punch Rush to Booyah or Booyah to Heel Drop, over and over and over again. It only takes fractions of a second to input each command, and with the proper stats, each move does around 5,000 HP, critical hits reaching the damage cap. With great concentration, the player should be able to input these commands at about 1/10 of a second on the game timer. With duel lasting a minimum of 4 seconds and a maximum of 12, the damage potential surpasses any other attack or combo. If during a 12-second round the player were to input every command at around 1/10 of a second, and Zell were to average a critical hit every 5 attacks, under ideal conditions, with Zell's strength at 255 and the enemy's defense at 0 from using the Vitality 0 spell, this strategy could yield roughly 720,000 points of damage, enough to kill any enemy save Omega Weapon in 1 round.
Mm-hmm.
With
So
enough luck to
basically-
land critical.
Sorry. So basically, he turns into like the Fist of the North Star. He just
Yes.
a blur
Yes.
of punches.
Yes. Well, I mean, it's not a blur. They're all animated pretty explosively, but it's pretty good. Yes, he does become Kenshiro. He does wa-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta you to death. And this is if you don't want to end if you want to do the true Armageddon Fist, you're just cycling Punch Rush Booyah Heal Drop, Punch Rush Booyah Heal Drop over,
Mhm.
and never hitting any of the endings. You're just going. And then it says also, with enough luck to land critical hits more frequently, even Omega Weapon can be killed in 1 round by this strategy. Funny enough, you can junction to luck.
Mm-hmm.
So you junction to strength, you junction to luck, you Vite 0 the bad guy, you aura Zell so that he's at least at crisis level 2, but then you also make sure he's at low HP so he's at crisis level 4, and then you just Punch Rush Booyah Heal Drop, Punch Rush Booyah Heal Drop, Punch Rush Booyah Heal Drop as fast as you possibly can, which, if you know the button combinations, you do, I might add. Well, actually, at Crisis Level 4, you start at Booyah. So you do Booyah, Heal Drop, Punch Rush. Booyah is right, left. Heal Drop is up, down. Punch Rush is circle X. You are literally just going right, left, up, down, circle X. Right, left, up, down, circle X. Over and over and over again. As fast as you can, as soon as the inputs can be registered.
Mm-hmm.
And then whatever you're attacking just melts. It's one of the many ways you can break this fucking game. I love this game for that reason.
I always find
But that is why Zell is a monk.
Yeah, I always find it amusing that that people get on us about how busted builds can be, and I'm like, have you played the video games?
And then they're like, but you shouldn't adapt slavishly from the games. We're not. We're just capturing the soul of the games.
Mm-hmm. No, what we need to do is make sure that everything is built around you doing 5 encounters each session that are supposed to drain half your resources no matter what.
No, monk. No, monk. To spite them, we should make it even easier to break the game.
Which
This is
I
a
think...
joke. We're broken enough as is.
Yep.
I mean, it's what it sounds like here is you need to add the limit break class that starts with a limit break at the start of every round.
Well, remember that limit breaks in our system. Our limit breaks in our system aren't big attacks. Limit breaks in our system take a toolkit and expand it to beyond 11.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Okay.
for monk, in fact, let me just, since we're talking about Zell and monk and everything, monk's limit break is this: for the remainder of the encounter, any natural even die rolled as the result of the blitz is treated as a success, so long as at least one blitz die is a success.
Mm-hmm.
The way the blitz die work in this game is you roll 3d20 for your normal attack as a blitz. The more successful attacks you get, the higher your blitz form, whatever blitz form you've declared, effect goes. So, for example, one of the first forms you can read is called Crusader form. If you roll a blitz and you have 1 success, you get an additional weapon damage die. 2 successes, 2 additional weapon damage dice. 3 successes, 3 additional weapon damage dice.
Now, given
Okay.
that, and given what you had just mentioned, I'm suggesting...
Dynamo.
I wasn't going to go with Dynamo, I was going to go with Dervish.
¿Por qué no los dos? Dynamo and Dervish, I agree with both.
Yeah. Since Zell is not unless you junction around him, Zell's not all that tanky. He is meant to be the glass cannon.
As like again, if you unlock all the abilities to junction, especially if you buy all the junction scrolls, which it's really easy to buy all the junction scrolls and teach every GF how to junction on every stat. Hell, you can even use item mod to turn items into the scrolls you need. You could literally junction magic, stacks of 100 ultimas over and over and over again to every stat to make everyone 255 in every stat, which is, I believe, the maximum in this game.
Yes.
It is, yeah.
And then you can status junction to your weapon. I like status junctioning Meltdown.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to know why?
Because Meltdown inflicts VIII 0.
Not only that, Meltdown inflicts multiple things. So Meltdown in Final Fantasy VIII inflicts Vitality 0 and Spirit 0, which is Spirit determines your magic defense as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But sorry about that. So I know some people find Zell annoying. I look at Zell as as over enthusiastic, but the guy who is always going to be sticking by you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He is somebody who 10 years down the road I can see being the ideal drinking buddy.
He's great. Zell is fantastic, and people who dislike them are just people who don't like fun.
Well, we seem to see a lot of people who are in gaming communities who really don't like fun. And I'm not talking about just journalists. I'm talking about performative cynics and flagellants.
Mm-hmm.
So then we have Selfie Tilmit.
She's gonna be an expert because she's gonna have Gambler.
So I would say Gambler definitely, and I appreciate how
big is the slots.
Yeah. I would also add in Ravager.
Yes, I could see her as a Ravager.
Ravager is our spell spammer, and she definitely does a lot of that.
She can, yeah, and she's pretty good at it.
Mm-hmm.
She's pretty fast.
And because of the whole, in part because of the whole fast thing, I'm also thinking Thief.
I could see Thief. Also, anyone who's played FF8 knows that Selfie says "Booyaka" all the time.
Yep.
So I guess she's a fan
But,
of Rey Mysterio.
Well, I like the nonsense she does in Japanese though. Rather than "Booyaka," she says "Mamiunemo," which is the entire row of the kana.
Which,
yeah,
that's one of those things that was always going to be hard to translate.
Yes, but I still love it. Mamiunemo.
Yeah. But I will admit that I have a certain enjoyment over the fact that with slots, I look at this as a precursor to the mist token thing that we would see in 12.
Yeah, I can see it.
And I do like that one of her best spells, if you can mess around with it, is just called The End.
Yep.
kills anything. You can the end Omega weapon.
Mhm. The only thing you can't undead. The only thing you can't is undead.
Because they're already dead.
Wait a minute. Monk,
Yes.
Gambler Ravager,
Hmm.
Engineer.
Because of her love of trains.
And the fact that she pilots the fucking airship.
Oh yeah, the Ragnarok.
But yes, because of her love of trains, because that pun is perfect and you know it.
Yeah. Remember, folks, Japanese wordplay.
It's fun.
But then we have Irvine Phineas.
Hideous. I'm gonna argue Irvine's another adept. Unfortunately.
Yeah, that's when you're dealing with this kind of thing. That's what's gonna happen. Sniper.
Yes, because he is literally the sniper for your mission to kill the sorceress.
Hmm.
So yes.
I would also say
Covert ops.
yeah.
Considering the fact that he hides the fact that he's remembered you guys this entire time from you for goddamn 2.5 discs.
Hmm.
Cunt. Ugh.
Surprise! I didn't have amnesia.
The rest of you did because you used GFs. I only started using GFs when I joined you fucks. I still remember the fact that we were all in the same orphanage. Fuck you.
Hmm.
Except for Renoa. Renoa was not part of them. That's true.
Yep.
But the rest of them, they were all in the same fucking orphanage. Ain't that a bitch? Using your summons kills your memories.
Hmm. But as far as the third one, I know it'd be tempting to go with Dynamo, but I don't think that quite fits.
Nah, he only has machine guns and battlefield pressure in one ammo type of his limit break.
Mhm.
So what I was thinking was this would be a point where, because we haven't put it on anyone else for some reason, and it would be really fun. No, never mind. That's just me being salty about it.
What about Sword Saint?
Sword Saint with a rifle? Yeah, let's do it. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You gotta be patient to be a sniper, and you gotta focus yourself to be a sniper. I think a Sword Saint and a sniper makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I know somebody might go, what? Somebody might go, but you call it Sword Saint, but it's nothing like Sid. Yeah, because I looked at Sid's kit, and as far as building a job around it with the requirements that we have, there wasn't enough meat on the bones. And just being
You can build Sid's kit with other jobs.
Yeah, it's the same reason I don't have a ranger job. You can build that with a combination of existing ones.
Well, not to mention that the idea of what a Sword Saint is someone who is. We used Sword Saint more to kind of imitate Cyan from 6.
Yeah,
in certain ways.
Since even though his ability is referred to as Bushido, I feel like his counting up. I feel like his approach was a precursor to Sword Saint, in the same way that the original Knight in the first Final Fantasy is a prototype of what would become Paladin.
The prototype of the Paladin. Yeah. course.
Because again, iteration
But
and
with-
experimentation.
Yep. But with that, we have hit the entire main party.
Yep. Now it's time for the B squad.
I still think, I'm thinking that the other 5 temporarily playable characters listed at the bottom absolutely all need to be covered.
Mm-hmm. So let's start with the guy with no sense of direction, the man with the machine gun, that theme is an absolute banger, and I will hear no argument otherwise.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Laguna Loire.
There's one other name you forgot, Monk. Squall's daddy.
And the president.
Yes, he is Mr. President. That's true.
He's president of a country he never lived. He was never born in.
Well, no one said Estar had the same presidential requirements that the U.S. does, Monk. But first of all, Laguna's definitely a warrior.
Yep.
And the primary reason for that is, like, his whole squad, if I'm being honest, is going to be warriors. Maybe Kyros is an adept, but they were not super magically inclined because they're from Galbadia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So with Laguna, though, his warrior job, I think,
Can I just state how weird looking his machine gun is?
it's a submachine gun.
Yeah. A submachine gun with
It is literally just a submachine gun.
with a very odd stock.
It really isn't a stock.
Yeah.
That's just where the buffer tube goes.
Yeah,
Where
kind of
the-
reminds me of
this-
like an AR without a stock.
I was gonna say, Monk, it does answer well where the bolt go though. Clearly the bolt goes right there.
Yeah.
However, its magazine looks like a canister you would see on a flamethrower.
I wouldn't be surprised
yeah,
if he
just
was
about to
going
make the-
if he was going to have a flamethrower at one point before they turned it midway development into a machine gun. Then again,
Maybe.
if you look at the
Either.
way weapons were designed by game designers in the 90s, there was a lot of we have no idea what we're doing.
Yeah.
A case in point
Either
would be
that,
this-
or like it's implied that it's not actually shooting a projectile. Like it could be shooting some sort of substance.
no, it's shooting projectiles.
Oh well.
Monk.
Mhm.
Fighter.
Because of the fact he's using
Specifically because of his appearance in Duodecim.
where he's using a bunch of different firearms.
Guns and bombs.
So
A shotgun, a sniper rifle, trick shots with ricochets, sticky bombs and grenades.
So, given that, I think he has to get Dynamo.
Yes. I mean, Dynamo is when we were initially designing Dynamo back when it was still called Gunner, Laguna was who I had in mind. So
The third one might be a bit of a curveball, but this is a hear me out. Chemist.
he doesn't really do a lot with items though. Like his limit break Desperado is him going up on a grappling hook, throwing grenades at the ground and shooting people a bunch until the grenades explode. I was gonna counter with Noble.
Given the fact that he seems to have a group of sidekicks
Mr. President.
and the whole Mr. President thing. I can go with that. Noble is another one of those that people who are especially numbered brained really end up sleeping on, because they forget that
Yes.
Noble can ban one whole action. They can just look at somebody and
I
go,
think-
"No, you will not be using magic today."
I think the other thing is it isn't direct. Yes, number brained. That's a good way to put it. It doesn't do XP damage, so it's not good.
Hmm.
That makes me just want to. God damn it! Now that just makes me want to create a system where you have to do brave damage before doing HP damage, like in Dissidia. An advanced rule set of Dissidia combat.
There was
like
something-
you have to do like the. Go ahead.
There was something like that with Exalted 3rd Edition, where you were fighting for initiative and spending it to do bonus damage. But I don't like Exalted 3rd Edition.
Regardless, yes, I think a fighter Dynamo Noble warrior class suits him perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
With that, we go on to Kyros.
Kyros, the catch of the day.
Catch of the day.
What else can I say when he's got a big fucking harpoon as a weapon?
No, that's Ward.
You're right. Kyros is
Kyros
our...
is Mr. Dusky Skin Katars.
Mm-hmm. So, once again, warrior. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Dervish is a necessity here.
Yes.
Would you also say monk?
No, he doesn't really do that sort of thing.
If not monk, then what about fencer?
I can see Fencer, considering he focuses on one-on-one.
And fencer is very much our one-on-one fighter. There is a small part of me that wants to give him ninja, but I don't think. I think thief might be a better choice.
I can see Thief over Ninja, yeah.
Which,
Just for clarification, our Thief is different. Our Thief steals things like stats from people.
Oh, that's cool.
Like,
I know.
as an action,
Mhm.
as an action, you can steal. You can. What it does is you inflict a penalty on a target, and then you get a bonus if you exceed the roll against their defense by a certain amount.
Mm-hmm.
Then, of course,
Okay.
Mug is where you can steal right after a successful weapon or spell attack.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole thing that Thief is built around is stealing, and then using sneak attack or to do other things.
Since we're using a row system, sneak attack is instead built on punishing the slow guys.
Yep.
Because
If your initiative is higher, you do more damage.
Okay.
And the reason I went with that, the approach I went with for Steel was heavily inspired by Locke's appearance in Dissidia NT/Dissidia Arcade. Because I had to ask and answer the question, how are you going to make Steel still useful even if the enemy has no items?
Yep.
Yeah.
I also really like the Spell Thief in Al-Qadim, and that played a factor as well.
Ah.
But then we have Ward Zabak.
Yep. Mr. Mute himself because of a thing.
And this guy apparently uses harpoons.
Yep. So, should we give him Dragoon?
Sure, just because of his limit break. Just because of his limit break. Where he comes out of the sky with a fucking anchor.
Yeah. That's actually great.
I'm not kidding. His limit break is called Massive Anchor. It allows him to throw the anchor in the air and jump after it, then ride it back down to the ground as it creates a shockwave which damages all enemies.
That is a Dragoon
That's
jump in
great.
all but name.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, I would also say, especially given his build and the like, and his physical build, I should say, Sentinel.
No, I wouldn't say Sentinel because he doesn't ever really sacrifice his attacks. In that case, I would say more probably Guardian.
I can go with Guardian. And as far as the third, let's see. The third job is always the tricky one, which was brought up when I talked with Tim Gonzalez last month.
With Ward?
No, I'm just talking about job combos.
Oh yeah.
And
No, with Ward it should be actually rather easy, Monk.
who are you thinking?
Paladin.
I can,
Well, he doesn't lower his own attack to defend people. He does defend people. That's how he got his injury that made him mute in the first place.
I can go with that, and Paladin obviously has cover. There have been some infamous dust-ups where somebody has demanded that Paladin should get access to white magic in my system, but I'm like, just take a white mage and take Paladin as well.
Yeah.
Oh. You can do that. But then we have Cypher.
Cypher is absolutely more warrior than Squall's adept. He's obviously going to get Gunbreaker as well, but he's also going to get Knight because of the Sorceress's Knight thing.
I can see that not just for the Sorceress Knight thing, but also because he seems to want to try and break enemy enemies before taking them out.
Yep.
Oh. That and I end up calling him. I ended up renaming him Biff at one point when in some of my early runs with the game, because that's the kind of bully that that he feels like. It doesn't help that, much like a lot of rival bully characters, he has a couple of patsies.
Mm-hmm.
Although one of them, because of the insistence on saying "you know" at the end of things, I in my head gave him a Minnesotan accent, because of course I would.
That's great.
And I remember I remember a friend of mine being, "Could you stop talking like Fargo whenever you're reading his lines?" And I'm like, "All right, fine. I'll give him a Quebecois accent." Which debatably is worse.
I mean, hey, you are giving them an accent other than Fargo.
Yep. But should he also get Magic Knight, or did you have something else in mind?
Safer? Or
Yep.
Cipher, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
They spelled it safer in English, but it actually is Cipher in Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
mm, mm. No, we can give him Magic Knight as well. Because he's supposed to be the mirror darkly of Squall, is the big thing.
Yeah. From what I've
So
heard,
he's what Squall could have been.
Yeah. From what I've heard, the reason for that kind of mirror darkly is at some point in the design process, they were taking inspiration from shonen manga. Which, if that's the case, does that make Cypher a Vegeta? Nope, never mind.
You know what? I'll allow it.
Vegeta.
God damn it, Nappa.
I'll take you.
But then we have Sorceress Adia.
Sorceress Adia.
Which, as a bit of an aside, I cannot unsee the fact that Sid Kramer looks like Robin Williams. Tell me when I'm telling lies.
No, you're not telling any lies. Adia's gonna be a mage for sure.
Mhm.
Again, she's a sorceress.
Yep. Even I was going to make that comment.
She is going to have Cosmic Mage. I think anybody who has the Sorceress lineage in a game in a FF8 campaign would have Cosmic Mage.
Well, the big thing is that with sorceresses, they're all descended from the Great Hind, which was a male god who put all his powers into women, which pissed off the rest of the people, I might add. I've only read a little bit of the FF8 Ultimania. Fuck off. But yes, and their powers are directly passed to the next sorceress candidate. Candidate for sorceress? What? Or maybe it should be candidate for demi-goddess.
No. None of that. Shame on you.
Candidate for goddess was great. Shut up. But yes, because it is a power passed down through time and has been shown repeatedly to allow time fuckery. Yes, they should all have Cosmic Mage. But Idia Idia, she if we're getting technical here, by the time you can actually play her, she's not a sorceress anymore because her powers passed to Renoa upon her defeat. I mean,
But she still has access to magic.
I'm not gonna get too. No, actually, she can't use magic unless you junction it to her when you use her in the party at that time.
Mhm.
Also, I'd love to point out. You know how they call her matron when she was the head of their orphanage?
Yeah.
I love the Japanese name better, Mama Sensei.
That is.
That's adorable. That's adorable.
But purely because of Ice Strike, I think one of the jobs should be Black Mage.
Yes, absolutely. And then the last one should be General.
So Cosmic Mage.
Look
Black
at what
Mage,
she
and
did with
General.
Galbadia.
Yeah. Even if she was possessed for a good amount of it.
Slightly possessed.
Mm-hmm. But although it is amusing that that little accessory behind her back is maybe a nod to the Rexel from 6.
Not only that, it's meant to imitate wings, since all sorceresses have them.
Mm-hmm.
Renoa has them, Adele has them, Ultimecia has them, Idia also has to have them.
That's a nice little design motif.
Their wings are all different, but they still have them.
Mm-hmm. As well
Because
as
she wants to compress past and future all together into one.
Mm-hmm.
Time compression was weird.
Yeah. So, question: should we do Raijin and Fujin?
No.
All right, I can go with that. I do think with some of the cast that we have, we should see about setting up their particular weapons, because some of them are a little bit more unorthodox.
Okay.
And I'd say with Squall, I think we can look into what would be equivalents for both the Gunblade and the Lionheart. Because unlike all of the other Gunblades that Squall gets, the Lionheart is this combination of an assault rifle with a sword instead of a revolver. Or some kind of handgun.
Like, I'm not sure that there's going to be too much different other than maybe the fact that the Lionheart will have an enchantment.
Although, let me check something. Because I may have already done it. Yeah, I did.
Oh boy.
Thanks, past monk.
Yeah, I have Lionheart in the in Gilgamesh's summer catalog. Metatype is physical, template is great, tags are gunarm, brutal, elemental, lightning, and magnum. enchantments are Limit Breaker and Sophisticated.
Double fun.
So, Limit Breaker so that you can use Limit Break without having to be under half health. And Sophisticated, so if you don't like those tags, you can redo them.
I thought Limit Breaker was called Aura Break, Monk.
Yeah, I think. Let me double check that.
No, I'm already on magic items right now.
Mm-hmm.
If
that is the case, that is an instance of a former editor being lazy. Yep.
No, Limit Breaker is a different enchantment, Monk. Limit Breaker is you have additional uses of Limit Break during an encounter.
Yeah.
Like you can have 2 Limit Breaks active instead of 1.
Which is definitely our kind of busted. But
I mean, like, once you get to the point where you're at a named weapon, like, at that point, like, you deserve to be a little busted.
But, let's see, with Selfie's setup, I know they refer to it as nunchaku, but if I'm being honest, that has more in common with a sunset's cone than nunchucks. Like, am I off base thinking that? Because the stick part of it is way too big for. There are large stick nunchaku, but even by those standards, those are too big.
I mean, it is a Final Fantasy game, Monk. Everything's bigger.
Yeah.
Much like Texas.
Just the way that
true.
the way that you see her using them, I get more of a vibe of a Sunset's Cone or a 3-section staff.
Ah,
Just without the middle section.
right.
But we already have her weapon detailed in Gilgamesh's catalog as well, with all of its incorrectness as well. We covered that in errata just a while ago.
Yep.
Where is it? The Crescent Wish, which for some reason had the Defender's. It had an enchantment called Defender's Aura, which isn't a thing. There's Damaging Aura and Defender's Focus.
Mm-hmm.
But the Crescent Wish, if you look at how it's done in things outside of FF8 proper, it has Aura, which allows for limit breaks. So give it Aura Break.
Mm-hmm. But something I think even though we're not doing the Guardian Forces here, there is something that I think we can do, because we kind of did it last time.
With the Espers, you mean? When we did the Espers, where we compared and contrasted?
Yes. So I'm going to look up the Guardian Force list, and
I already have the list open, Monk. Like Quetzalcoatl, Shiva, Ifrit, and Siren. Quetzalcoatl is just a Ramu XP. Brothers is our Titan XP. Diablos, Carbuncle, Leviathan are all Diablos, Carbuncle, and Leviathan.
Yep, so let me go down from
Pandemona is the wind.
Let me go down from top to bottom. Quetzalcoatl, Ramu.
Okay.
Shiva, same. Eva, Eva. Ifrit, same.
Ifrit.
Siren, same. Brothers, Titan.
Titan.
Diablos, we have Diablos. We just didn't do the whole percentage thing because that doesn't work all that easily on tabletop. Carbuncle, same. Leviathan, same. Pandemona, Garuda.
Yep.
Oh,
Cerberus.
same.
Cerberus.
Yep. Alexander, same. Doom Train, Hades.
Hades.
Yeah.
Bahamut, same.
Yep.
Cactuar.
We-
If you want Cactuar,
We
just
don't have an equivalent for Cactuar or Toddberry.
Mm-hmm. I'd say with both of those, you would just and Teddy is saying show Doom Train. No, I'm not doing that. But with Cactuar and Tonberry, making an equivalent to them would never quite work. Since Cactuar's 1,000 Needles thing is a gimmick. And Eden, we already have accounted for.
Yep. And
saying
then
Stray Cat.
Odin and
I don't know.
Gilgamesh are both in the game.
Yep. This is actually one of the cases where we got the
As
serious.
is Phoenix,
Yep.
if you use a Phoenix pinion.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, Phoenix, Boko. If you wanted Boko, you can just pick Chocobo Knight.
Yeah.
Umba. Well, Moomba's an item effect, so that's just doing a lot of damage. Although it always leaves them with 1 HP.
Yep.
Yep.
And Minimog is just a full heal.
Revives GFs.
Mhm.
He revives and heals GFs.
Yep. Which
He's a full heal for GFs.
mhm. But obviously we were never going to do the whole GF summon charges or GF HP just because it's not something we need to do, and it's not something that would fit.
Yep.
Although, as an aside, it is funny that the dance that was in FF8 would be used for a technical demo for the PS2.
Oh, nice.
That is actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's not the first time that this kind of thing was done. Because there was the FF6 interactive CG game, which was never meant to be a full game. It was just meant to be a literal tech demonstration for Seagraph. But it was the thing that made them realize to do what they were planning on doing, they needed CDs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cartridges were not going to cut it.
Yes.
Which of course led to the falling out between them and Nintendo that would result in bad blood for years upon years up until the GameCube era.
Yep.
And even then, the GameCube wasn't getting mainline games. And I think the beef was less that they wanted to jump onto CDs, and more the fact that Square was getting in bed with Sony, who Nintendo jilted all those years ago, which led to them getting embarrassed.
you know, I know this is a bit of a tangent, but like the Nintendo spawning like Sony to go off to go into consoles is like one of those like biblical like stories you go back to. It's like, yeah, you know, so and so's hubris created their worst enemy.
I often use a quote from that's attributed to Napoleon. Never interrupt your enemy when he's making a mistake. Because a lot of people get the idea that Sony jumped off the Nintendo CD project. That wasn't what happened. Nintendo dropped them at the altar to get in bed with Philips.
Yep.
And we saw how that turned out. And we all wish we didn't.
Mhm.
I mean, look, like we finally got a Legend of Zelda game with Zelda as the main character, though.
Yeah, but it's like a dog. It's like a dog chasing a car. You don't know what you're gonna do if you finally catch it.
Fair.
And when it comes to, I think my favorite moment when it came to that whole thing was the E3 presentation, which wasn't really a presentation. It was one guy going up to the podium, saying $2.99, refusing to elaborate, and walking off. Because that was done the same month as Sega was getting shit for the fact that the Saturn cost $3.99.
Yeah.
So I would like to make a few specifications regarding some of what happened with Square and Sony and Nintendo there. It isn't only the fact that that 7 wouldn't fit on cartridge, or that Nintendo dumped Sony to go with Philips, but it's the fact that they had geared all of it up for the next console Nintendo was releasing. And it was basically gold. The game had almost gone gold by the time Nintendo said, oh yeah, it's not the Ultra 64 anymore, it's just the Nintendo 64, and it's cartridge based. And they're like, it's not going to fit. We can't cut it down. It's a complete product. And they went to Sony, and then Nintendo, because Sony was still had a disk drive reader, because originally Sony was just going to make a peripheral. They weren't going to make a console.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that then Nintendo's president and their entire financial department, apparently, because the president goes, there will never be another Final Fantasy on Nintendo systems. That's a lie. That eventually happened on the GameCube. And then both companies sold the stocks they had in each other.
Ah.
Fucking wild.
Yeah.
Right?
Japanese company politics can get very personal and very petty.
Sounds like us.
Yeah, but we're not burning down a whole business just to spite someone.
This
Yeah.
is also true.
Or-
Yet, he says.
Yeah. But what instantly comes to mind is the whole thing of when Tenryu decided to form his own promotion. Giant Baba said Tenryu would never step foot, as long as he was alive, Tenryu would never step foot in an All Japan ring ever again. And that was technically true. Tenryu didn't come back until after Baba died.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, in that same vein of never interrupt your enemy, the stubbornness that All Japan had led to the Exodus in 2000,
Yeah.
where
Fun.
where Misawa basically took everything with him, all but two of their main talents, a lot of the support staff, and their TV deal. And I was like, well, you guys won't let me do what I'm being paid to do, so I'm just gonna make my own place.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Amov, Phoenix Down doesn't work on somebody who had their entire spinal cord severed.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
And we've talked about this, how I didn't put in a specific rule set when it comes to character death for Legend Edition, and this was for a very specific reason. A lot of times when characters are reach 0 HP in combat in FF, they are not
They're
dead.
incapacitated or knocked unconscious.
Yeah, they're knocked out. It is specifically referred to as KO.
Well, in older games.
Mm-hmm.
I believe KO was actually something different in some games where it was like too kanji. And that's why it started being called incapacitated in later games.
Yeah. And I'm of the belief that in the kind of game that FF is, character death should be a dramatic culmination, not something that can happen just from stepping on the wrong plate.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
especially in something like a Final Fantasy game.
Mhm.
Well,
Where-
to
Go ahead.
I was gonna say to make a point I made to someone else at another time. Party or character death is very rare and always has enormous narrative impact. And the examples are Palom, Porum, Tella, Galuf, Shadow, if you forget to wait for him at the top of the floating continent, Aerith, who is the literal poster child of this particular issue, Tidus, Noctis, spoilers for Final Fantasy 16, if anybody wants to hear them or doesn't want to hear them, plug your ears now. Sid, Joshua, and Clive.
Mm-hmm.
Technically Dion and all the other fucking dominants for that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with each of them, it is part of a very climactic scene. I was
Climactic and poignant.
Yeah.
And narratively.
And because it is so
Mr. Amov, I'm going to bitch slap you.
and
I'm going to bitch slap you. His name is Horshafont, you fucking Philistine. You do not hold Sunshine Boy's name in vain here, fuckhead.
Oh.
A smile better suits a hero. Yeah, well, rage better suits a vengeful god.
But I'm suddenly reminded of when Spoiler got mad at me for making the tank the floor joke.
Make the tank the what?
The tank the floor joke. Because she
Oh.
was a Dragoon main in 14 for a while.
Mm-mm.
And Dragoons, if they're not played properly, will commonly tank the floor.
Yeah.
No, she got mad. She didn't get mad at you for making the joke. She grumbled a bit, and I said, "Oh, don't worry. A smile better suits a hero to her." That's when she got mad.
Then again,
Because
I remember when I was at this thing for a bunch of JoJo fans, and I decided I'm going to do something stupid, and right in the middle of the table, I placed a bottle of salad dressing.
Caesar!
Remember, any salad is a Caesar salad if you stab it enough.
That is true.
But I will remind you all, as I constantly have to, I am a bastard and an asshole. And when it comes, but I will note when it further comes to character death, one of the things I was drawing upon was the discussion on character death that was had in 7th C 2nd edition. Now, John Wick is kind of an asshole, but I respect his abilities as a game designer. But he had specifically stated that player characters are these dramatic, larger-than-life heroes, and character death, whether it be the character or adversaries, should be handled as a dramatic moment. You know, the villain shouldn't be taken out in his first appearance. He should find some way to miraculously retreat to fight the heroes another day.
Yeah.
Because 7th C is a swashbuckling game, and is trying to carry the spirit of a swashbuckling adventure.
Naturally.
It is not meant to be, as the term is coined, fantasy fucking Vietnam. If you want that, we have the Black Company for that.
Oh, there's a Black Company TTRPG. I didn't know that.
It's in the works. It's being done by Arc Dream Publishing. I saw some people saying that it was probably going to be using 5e with no proof on the matter. Then I showed them the playtest, and I'm like, this doesn't look like 5e to me. I don't know where the fuck you got that idea. No, especially since Arc Dream has never done anything D&D related at all. Their big claim to fame is Wild Talents. You know, they're the guys behind the One Roll engine.
Right.
Which I would have figured they'd use that, but instead they're using a percentile system. A percentile system that is just using skills and doing the whole learn by failure. So it's not far removed. So it feels like a very stripped down version of basic. But the point is, I feel people overrate realism within the tabletop space at times. Or more specifically, overrate simulationism. And because of that, there's this assumption among some that you need to have that kind of thing in your games, when in reality you don't. There is no royal road to design. There is no you have to do this kind of thing.
Right.
But all of that being said, I think we got a decent range. I know somebody might ask, why didn't you do anything about Seed itself as an organization? Well, it's because I already did.
The work has already been done.
We even actually created a acronym proper for Seed. Sorceress Elimination and Evasion Division. And it's the same reason I didn't do anything with with Shinra with Soldier, because Soldier is integrated into Shinra Public Security Forces. The Turks are also integrated into that, because instead of doing them separately, they're all branches of the same organization. So just do that organization.
Yeah.
And Ammo says, have fun playing Twilight 2000 and get shot in the septic and then die. If we're talking about the old school Twilight 2000, I will never run that unless I am handsomely paid, and you do not have the kind of money that I would be asking for. You would have a better chance getting me to play Phoenix Command, and I have made it very clear I will never run Phoenix Command again. Same with Rifts. Because, it's not like Rifts hasn't been my whipping boy for decades or anything. But, all that being said, I will note, starting on the 10th and on Saturdays for the remainder of this month, I will be doing a set of one. I'll be doing a one-shot of Legend Edition, a one-shot that I prepared and I'm doing with different parties throughout that month.
Uh-huh.
In addition to that, as I mentioned late last year, technically, the Sword World podcast is taking a break for a few months. We'll be returning to that in May. But instead, for a few months, we're going to be talking about anima on a bi-weekly basis, in a series I'm calling Reflections of Gaia. Now, it would be tempting to ask, what, are you only covering the tabletop with that? No. We are covering the tabletop RPG, the card game trilogy, the miniature war game, and both of the video games.
Isn't there a third game coming out pretty soon?
I don't know about pretty soon, but it is in the works. There was a heavy amount of delay because of the bullshit with Badland and Carlos's mother passing.
Yeah.
Because with Gate of I'll end up revisiting this, but with Gate of Memories, they got screwed over by Badland Publishing, who went bankrupt shortly after the game came out and wouldn't pay them. They had to go through a lengthy court battle to get it, and they didn't even get the amount that they were promised, plus all the legal fees. So there was a good amount of time where Carlos was wrapped up in that, and the rest of the team couldn't do a whole lot, which led to one thing, then led to another, which led to us getting the remastered version of Gate of Memories. So that's how that happened. And it wasn't the only time that a publisher tried to screw somebody over, because who here remembers the bullshit that happened with Aeon Must Die? And how the guys behind that really got screwed over. I do have optimism for Immortal and the Death That Follows, though.
Yep.
Especially since it is one giant jailbreak. It is a Buddhist flavored jailbreak.
A Buddhist flavored jailbreak.
Mm-hmm. So if I don't hear tonight there's going to be a jailbreak when people stream it, I am going to be very disappointed. But that is what I've got coming down the pipe. And of course we are still working on an improved errata for Legend Edition. And I don't know when we'll have the 1.2 version up and ready, but we hope to have it soon. And there's already a bunch of there's nothing major in terms of overhauls, save for a couple things. But what is going to happen is a bunch of little oversights that should have been caught and probably would have if I didn't have a few former collaborators who overvalued sloth and their own personal business. But that is a story I'm not interested in going into. I will just say we're working on a 1.2. I don't have a exact timetable on when we will put pencils down on the errata, but it is going to be happening. So keep an eye out for that. But until then, on behalf of the good brothers present and not present, my name is Mildra. I am your gaming monk. Stay fucking frosty, everybody.